be seated. Please be seated. Woo. Good morning, everyone. It is great to see you. Happy New Year to everyone. Wonderful to see you and a joy and a blessing to be with you all. I'm Richard Maraj. I'm the senior minister at Unity Phoenix, and we have a fabulous service planned for you today. So no matter what's going on in your life, you are in the right place at the right time. And we hope today's service opens your heart and helps you heal what needs to be healed and to open yourself to feel the fullness of God's love and God's blessing in all areas of your life. So welcome. Great to see everyone.
Amen to that. And my name is Jimmy Scott. I'm Pastoral Care Minister here at Unity Phoenix. My pleasure to welcome you here as well. Let's start this service off with our mission statement by taking it together.
Unity of Phoenix is a loving spiritual community that welcomes all people and honors all paths to God. We are dedicated to transforming lives by inspiring and awakening individuals to discover God's Spirit within them. Amen. It's now is that time in our service for a time of prayer and meditation. So if you have your cell phones with you, I want to encourage you to either place those on silence or vibrate, and Calvin will lead us in our meditational song.
The presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I can feel the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Just a timely reminder to set aside all of your cares and concerns for a few moments and enter into that sacred space of quietness and silence. So as we begin this time of prayer and meditation together, I want to invite you to close your eyes if you haven't done so, to get comfortable in your seat. To take a deep, refreshing breath and just completely relax and let go of any tightness or any tension in your body. Allow yourself to be fully supported by the seat you're in. Begin to breathe deeply and freely. And lastly, consciously slow your mind down. Shut out any outer distractions. The scripture talks about the secret place of the Most High. And that secret place is within you, within I, within every living being on this planet. That special corner of the soul where we are reminded quite profoundly that we are one in God's love and one in God's Spirit. And the inherent power in that reminder is that we're connected all over the planet, but only when we know it and feel it from our own souls. So as we go a little deeper into that reality, I invite you to take another deep, refreshing breath. And for the next few moments, just give yourself permission to be quiet and to be still and to truly feel the presence of the Almighty in you and all around you. Supporting you, strengthening you, healing you. For all the blessings in our lives, the blessing of family and friendship, the blessings of laughter and joyfulness, and the blessings of love, the blessing of faith, the blessing of wisdom, and the blessing of understanding, and on and on and on. We give thanks this morning in the name and the nature of the living Christ. And so it is, and amen.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory
We are blessed to have you here. Good morning again, everyone. And a shout out to everybody who tunes in and watches us online. So little Johnny's dad just put him to bed and tucked him in. And 5 minutes later, little Johnny screams downstairs, "Dad, can you get me a glass of water?" And his dad says, "No, son, you had your chance. It's time to go to sleep." After a minute, little Johnny screams again, "Dad, can you get me a glass of water?" And his dad says, "No, I told you had your chance. If you ask me one more time, I'm going to come up there and I'm going to spank you." After a short silence, his dad hears, "Dad, when you come up to spank me, can you bring me a glass of water?" All right. That was my first joke for the year. And didn't want to overwhelm you with my best stuff because I wanted to improve as we go. But since I wasn't here last week, here are a couple of bonus jokes. Why do politicians envy ventriloquists? Because they can lie without moving their lips. Ba-doom, show. Okay, just a couple more. Why are there so many Smiths in the phone book? Because they all have phones. Okay, it's dipping down, but it'll come back up at the end. One sec. Why do bagpipers walk while they play? They're trying to get away from the noise. Big finish now, big finish. Why do gorillas have big nostrils? Because they have big fingers. Okay. All right. Woo. I should have stopped at the first joke, shouldn't I? I just should have stopped right off the first one. So I purposely began today telling some jokes with questions because this morning we're going to talk about the power of questions. You know, I absolutely believe that questions are one of the most beneficial, one of the most powerful, one of the most helpful, and also one of the most underutilized tools, resources, and practices we have to move our lives forward and to attract even greater blessings and abundance in our lives. I believe that questions are catalysts that stimulate and activate the power of our brain and especially the power of the subconscious mind. I believe that questions move the universal creative forces and open channels for greater inspiration, greater creativity, greater ideas, greater abundance to come into our lives. Here's how powerful questions are. Here's what Einstein said. He said, if I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on the solution, I would spend the first 55 minutes determining the proper question to ask. For once I know the proper question, I can solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. How many people ever heard the Socratic method of learning? You know, Socrates believed that questions was the way that we open ourselves up to greater insights and understanding. It's based on the idea that education doesn't mean to put in. Education actually means to draw out. There's a belief that he had that all the intelligence, all the wisdom, all the insights and understanding that we need is already in us. And questions help tap into that genius. It helps bring forth the wisdom and the beauty and the ideas and the intelligence and the creativity that's already within each and every one of us. Questions are the secret to tapping into deeper levels and greater levels of happiness, fulfillment, and success. You know, Jesus said, ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be opened unto you. I believe that questions are a form of asking, seeking, and knocking. Questions are the things that trigger greater activity and greater success in our lives. There's a Cameroonian proverb that says, he who asks the question cannot avoid the answer. Because when you ask a question, you activate the universal wisdom and you call forth something greater into your life and in and through yourself. The book of James says, if you lack wisdom, anyone who lacks wisdom should ask God, who gives generously to all, and it will be given to you. I truly believe the questions we ask determine the quality of our lives. Tony Robbins says the quality of your life depends on the quality of the questions that you are asking. And as powerful as questions are, sometimes we don't ask ourselves the most helpful questions. Let me give you a couple examples. Here's a question we sometimes ask ourselves. It's not helpful. Why me? Why is life so unfair? Why do I always get hurt? Why are people so mean to me? Why can't I seem to get it together? Why am I always broke and never have enough money? Why do I always date the wrong guys? Why can't I find a good job? Why do I always fail? Why is this happening to me again? Why questions tend to be very circular. And we tend to ask the same question. And notice the consciousness underneath that. It tends to be one of being a victim, isn't it? Feeling helpless, feeling powerless. And we say, why is this happening to me? And we end up attracting more of the same stuff. You know, when we ask why questions, we feel powerless, hopeless, and we just give our power away. And we come from a thing of victimhood and tend to repeat more of the same. Here are some different, more empowering questions. How can I be more successful in this situation? What can I learn from this that will help me? How can I show up in a more positive way? What is the best outcome I can envision for this situation? What is the best decision that I can make? How can I feel more joy in this situation? Or how can I move beyond this and attract something even greater? See, why questions tend to attract more of the same, and they come from a place of being a victim, where how questions tend to be more empowering, and they're directed at attracting something better than we're currently experiencing. So my question for you is, what kind of questions are you asking life? Are you asking ones of why me and why this again? Or are you choosing in those situations to say, how can I learn? How can I grow? How can I get better? How can I attract something even greater than what I am experiencing? Now, Naguib Mahfouz, who won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1988, an Egyptian writer, said this: you can tell whether a man is clever by his answers. You can tell whether a man is wise by his questions. Questions can sometimes cut right into the depth of a situation and bring clarity and understanding. Questions can open our minds to see things that we hadn't seen before, and to open possibilities that we never had entertained. There are a lot of great questions we can ask in life to open our lives up to greater abundance. But today I want to explore the 4 most important questions, I believe, that can get us unstuck and move our lives forward to even greater abundance. The reason we're doing this is because I'm writing a book called The 4 Most Important Questions You Can Ask Yourself to Move Your Life Forward. And I haven't finished writing the book, so I thought I'd write a talk about it while I'm working on the book. First question is, what do I need to let go? I will guarantee you, if you feel stuck in your life, if you feel frustrated, if you don't feel happy, if you're not making progress or moving forward, I guarantee you there is something that we're holding on to that isn't for our best. There is something that we need to let go. Human beings have the unfortunate tendency to hold on to things that aren't healthy and good for us. Anybody ever hold on to a grudge? Okay, 4 of us, that's good. Sometimes we hold on to fears, we hold on to our hurts, we hold on to disappointments, we hold on to things people say that we didn't like, or what people do that we didn't like. We hold on to anger, we hold on to regret, we hold on to guilt and blame and resentment. We hold on to pain, even when we know it's not good for us, we still keep holding on to it. We have developed such a habit of holding on that letting go is not easy. Letting go takes strength. It takes faith. You know, I'll tell you, letting go, I believe, is the hardest of all spiritual practices. And I'd say it's the most important of all spiritual practices. And it is also the most liberating of all spiritual practices. It is the most freeing. It is the thing that brings us the greatest level of peace, is to let go. David Hawkins said the most effective technique of all the techniques we could try, of all the things we could try to reduce our stress, to bring us greater peace or joy or love or feel closer to God or relieve our suffering, is by far the practice of learning to let go. We've all heard the expression, let go and let God. But we need to let go first. And that always isn't an easy thing for us. And what are the things we need to let go? There are many things.
Any people here ever resist something that was happening, some change? Anybody ever resist? I'll tell you, letting go of resistance, letting go of our attachment to a certain outcome of how we think life should be and fighting against life is something we need to let go. Letting go for the need of control, letting go of the need to be right, letting go of the pain of the past, letting go of our fear, letting go of feelings of unworthiness, letting go of negative thinking, letting go of a belief in lack and limitation. If we're feeling stuff, the best way to move our lives forward is to say, what do I need to let go? What am I holding on to that isn't serving me, that it's time for me to release? What are some old feelings or old beliefs or old dreams or relationships that it's just time for me to put behind me? Letting go comes in many different forms. Sometimes it's in the form of acceptance. Sometimes letting go comes in the form of forgiveness or just releasing it and stop worrying about it and trusting that everything will be okay. Listen to Paul's words in the book of Philippians. He said this, "Brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it. But one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining forward to what is ahead, I press on to win the goal for which I have been called by God heavenward in Christ Jesus." And so what Paul is saying here is, God's got something great for you. A better life, something more fulfilling and better than you can imagine. But if you want it, you got to put the past behind you. You got to let go of all that old stuff. Let go of whatever ill feelings you're harboring, whatever bitterness you're holding on to, whatever regret or whatever way you're beating yourself up for what you did or didn't do. You got to put it behind you so you can move on to something greater. So my question for you is, are you willing to explore that question in your life of what do I need to let go? What do I need to free myself from? What do I need to do to lighten my load, to bring a level of peace into my heart, and to reclaim my power, and to move towards a greater life of joy? First question to move your life forward is, what do I need to let go? Second question sounds simple, but it's, what do I want? It might sound simple, but many of us don't know what we want. What movie would you like to see? I don't know. What would you like to eat? I don't know. Most people don't have goals, which means most people don't know what they want. Many of us can tell people what we don't want, but we can't always tell what we do want. So what do you want for your life? What do you want to create? What do you want to experience? What kind of career do you want to have? What way would you like to improve your relationship? What way would you like to improve your health? What kind of better experience of God would you like to have? There are so many things in which we are not clear about what it is we want, and it is one of the most powerful things we can do is to be clear and take time to think about what it is that I want. You have been created in the image and likeness of God, and God is a creator. So you've been created in the image and likeness of the Creator. So part of your job here is to create. What kind of life do you want to create? What kind of relationships do you want to create? What kind of attitude? What kind of person do you want to become? What kind of legacy do you want to leave? What kind of difference do you want to make? What things do you want to achieve? There's so much available. The question is, are you taking the time to figure out what it is you actually want? Scripture said, where there is no vision, the people perish. But happy is he who keeps the law. Happy is the one who knows where they're going to channel their creative energy and direction. They will feel fulfilled. But when you don't have a vision, you know what perishes? Your joy perishes, your energy perishes, your focus perishes. Because instead of directing our energy, we dissipate it. But when you know what you want, you direct it, you move your creative energy into more positive ways and the things that you want. Sometimes we get so stuck in the circumstances, but vision helps us rise above to create something even greater. Let's go back to Socrates. Socrates has a quote, and he says, "The unexamined life is not worth living." How many people heard of that? You've heard of that? When I first heard that, I thought, man, that sounds so negative. The unexamined life is not worth living? But if you flip it, it's a very positive statement. What he's saying is that life is so worth living. Life is such a precious and incredible gift. It behooves us to take time to think about how we want to live it, how we want to show up, how we want to love, how we want to act, what kind of attitude we want to have, what kind of feelings we want to have, what kind of things we want to create. You know, what kind of ways we want to be helpful and encouraging and positive in our lives and in the lives of the people that we know. So whether you call it a vision, whether you call it a dream, whether you call it an intention, whether you call it a goal, whether you call it your heart's desires, my simple question for you is, what do you want? What do you want? The moment you get clear, your life will start to move forward. Third question is, what are you grateful and thankful for in your life? So often in our lives as human beings, we tend to focus on what we don't have, what isn't working, what we don't like. We tend to focus a lot on the negatives to the point that we sometimes miss the good and take the things that are working in our lives for granted. I'll tell you, being grateful is one of the most powerful things because it focuses your mind, switches it from the negative to the positive, from lack to abundance. It is absolutely powerful, from what isn't there to what actually is there. So my question is, what are you most grateful for in your life? What makes you most happy in your life? What things do you enjoy the most? What people make you feel the most special? I mean, what is it that you love about life? What's good about being you? What are the things that bring you the greatest levels of happiness and fulfillment? You know, what are your greatest blessings? You know, in this prosperity class, one of the things we have is sometimes, you know, we all have these ideas of things we want, and we're kind of waiting till we get those things to be happy. But real prosperity is, how much are you enjoying life right now? How much are you appreciating who you are now and enjoying what you're doing now and enjoying what you have now and enjoying who you're with now? That's real prosperity. How much are you enjoying and appreciating your life now? Because even when life isn't going well, I have discovered that it's still pretty good. That there's always stuff to appreciate, always stuff to give thanks for. So last Tuesday, I was having lunch with a friend, and this feeling of not feeling good came over me. And to the point I was feeling not so not good, I canceled going to a movie with Richard Rogers and canceled having dinner with some friends. So the next day, Wednesday, I need to get a couple things done. It was a day before New Year's Eve. And so I had someone I was running some errands with, and we had lunch. We had some dim sum. And again, it felt like the life was being drained out of me. And, you know, I was feeling a little bit of tightness in my chest and some tingling down my arm. And I was preparing for a funeral of my cleaning person who had a stroke and died after saying, "I'm not feeling well." And my father died at 59, and I'm 52. So I can't pretend that I don't know that, although I like to try and pretend that I don't know that. So I am feeling so horrible. I mean, I can't even tell you. I just said to the person, "I'm not feeling that good," but I didn't go into how not good I was feeling. I ended up going home, and then I called Jill, and Jill's my best friend, and she came over, and we took my blood pressure. My blood pressure's high, my chest feeling tight. And I said, and it was 2 o'clock, and I said, "But I got to do this funeral at 5:30. And she said, "Do you think we should go to the urgent care?" I said, "Yeah, but let's go to the urgent care after I do my funeral at 5:30. And she said, "Let's pray about that for a second." And we asked, "Is it your highest and best to do this funeral? Is it your highest and best to go to the urgent care?" We decided urgent care was a better idea. So I went to the urgent care, and they took my EKG, and it was irregular. And they said, "We need to get to the ambulance and an ER quickly." So we go to the ER, and they take my EKG at the Deer Valley Honor Health or John C. Lincoln. And they said, "Well, this isn't looking that great." But they took my blood, they took x-rays, and they said, "You know, we need to keep taking blood for several hours because you may have had a heart attack, blah, blah, blah." And then they realized that I hadn't had a heart attack, but they wanted me to stay overnight to do a stress test in the morning. And I said, "You know, I'd rather sleep in my own bed, and maybe I go see a cardiologist tomorrow." And said, "Well, you know, it is Christmas, it's New Year's Eve tomorrow. You're probably not going to get a lot." I said, "Well, could you try and find me one? Because I'd really just like to go home." So they released me. They didn't say it was the best move. So the next morning, I went to the cardiologist, and he said, "Well, I think based on what you got, there's probably a 75% chance you got some blockage in there. You should have stayed in the hospital." He said, "But we'll order a stress test. But in the meantime, let me give you some nitroglycerin. So if your heart feels tight, you pop one of these, and it'll clear your passages." And so that night, I had services for the Burning Bowl, the New Year's Eve. So I came, did that fine. The next day, New Year's Day, I'm at home. And then suddenly in the evening, my chest is getting tight. And I thought, let me pop one of these bad boys. And I popped one of them. And then, but it's really kind of not helping that good. So I popped another one. And so I called Jill over. And my blood pressure is dropping. My heart rate goes down to 40. And I've got a pretty low heart rate, but I wasn't feeling good at 40. And it's a horrible feeling to feel like an elephant standing on your chest and you can't get enough air. It was a hugely terrifying experience. So Jill and Richard come and take me back to the hospital, and they do more tests, more blood work, and they said, you know what, we think we need to do an angiogram. Everybody know what an angiogram is? So they run up one of your veins, and they go right into your heart and put dye in, and if they got a blockage, they put a balloon and a stent in, and they're thinking it's a blockage. I'm thinking, I'm not feeling good, it's got to be a blockage. And so then they're having me fill out the thing and telling you all the risks and dangers involved. And then so Jill and I are sitting there as we're waiting for my turn, and I'm on this gurney, and she says, so just in case things don't work out, what would you like me to tell your family? And we'd emailed them, and they were all praying already. And so, I thought about it, and I thought, what do I want to tell my family? And the obvious choice is, I love you, but that isn't what came to me. What came to me was, tell them, thank you. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for being my sisters and brothers. Thank you for being a great family. Thank you for making me feel so special. Thank you for getting to live this life with you and making my life so great, because I've had a great life. We all come to that point, and we all come to it. We will not know when our last time is. And the question, what would you like to say to the people you love? What would you like to say to life as we make our transition? So I get into the operating room, or whatever they call that thing, and the doctor says, so did they explain the risks involved? I said, yeah, they did. He felt the need to reiterate them. So he's saying, we could puncture something in your heart. And I said, okay. He said, we could do a day and you can get a stroke. I said, okay. And he says, you could potentially die. And I said, well, okay. I said, I appreciate you sharing that, but it wasn't the last thing I wanted to hear before you put me to sleep. And I'm trying to make a joke out of it because I don't want to tick the guy off who's going to be doing the deal. So anyway, we do it, and clearly I got through it. And when I woke up, they said everything was clear. Your left side's 100% clear, the other side. So we don't know what's going on. But it's not that. And that's good news. I said, well, that's good. So they said, well, since it's not that, we think you can go home. And so this is 5:30 last Saturday, or 5 o'clock last Saturday. And so, like an hour later, I'm not feeling good again. And my heart's pounding. Jill is over, and we're putting my feet up. My heart rate's dropping like a rock. And so the ambulance ends up coming, and I am back in there Saturday evening at 9 o'clock. And they end up putting me in a critical care unit, and they thinking maybe it's a blood clot in my lung. They took CT scan. I mean, they took more tests than I even knew existed. And there wasn't that either. So they kept me in critical care last Saturday night. And so I said, Richard, you think you could do my talk for me, man? Because I'm thinking this isn't probably going to. And Richard and Jill were in the hospital till 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock with me. And he came here and did service for me. I mean, I'll tell you, there was something so interesting. It wasn't a great experience. It wasn't a great experience at all. But I'll tell you, I felt so thankful to be so loved. 7 of my 9 siblings wanted to fly into town. 1 did to help take care of me. I mean, the doctors were so great. The nurses were so great. Coincidentally, the charge nurse of the cardiac ward goes to Unity. So I got some good treatment. And I'll tell you, it was to feel loved in a difficult time is just incredible. It is just an incredible, incredible experience. It is not the way I wanted to start my new year. It was not one of my resolutions, although I did want to get a thorough checkup, and I did. And so I went to the doctor on Tuesday, and I said, because we're all confused, what's going on? He said, what this is, I noticed there was an enzyme that was up that creates inflammation and soreness in your muscles. And what it was a side effect of a cholesterol drug I'd taken. And because I'd done 200 push-ups, 6 sets of 35 push-ups, 3 days before this, and the day before I did 150 push-ups, because my chest muscles were so used, they were sore and inflamed and appeared like I was having, and it actually created an irregular heartbeat. So that giving me nitroglycerin, which was a smart move, but I actually didn't need it, and the beta blockers. And they did a great job. I have to say, I felt nothing but joy and relief to know that it was just a side effect. So he told me, don't take the cholesterol medication and don't do so many push-ups. And, and so it is just amazing, and I feel so blessed and so fortunate. So my question for you is, in your life, even when it's going perfect, what are the things you're thankful for? What's good about being you? Who are the people that make you feel special and loved and supported? Because one of the most important things you can do to have a great life is to enjoy now, to appreciate now, to celebrate now, to rejoice in now, to give thanks for now and all that's going on. We keep thinking, I'm going to wait till I make lots of money. I wait to meet the right person. Wait, no, don't wait. Real prosperity and real living is about appreciating and enjoying what's going on now. Last question is, what is my soul calling me to, in what way is it calling me to go deeper? Jimmy gave an incredible quote that I love by Mark Twain, and here's what it says. Mark Twain said, the 2 most important days of your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. And so my question, how many people know that there's more in you than you've allowed to come out so far? Everybody knows that. Because your soul is here to do greater things than you believe it can. Greater things than you've allowed it to can. So what is in your life that you are avoiding right now? What is it are you running from or not wanting to face or not willing to try or do? Because I guarantee you, if you look into that, I guarantee you it's calling your soul deeper. It's calling you to express more, to feel more, to be more, to reach out and do more than you ever imagined to. But the question is, are you willing to listen? Are you willing to go deeper? Maybe your life's calling you to be more vulnerable, more authentic, more honest. Maybe your life is telling you to take better care of yourself. Maybe your life is saying set better boundaries. Maybe it's saying listen. I don't know what it is, or live with more courage. So whether it's an inner urge or whether it's a challenge or a relationship where you close your heart off, look at the things that aren't feeling good and look deeper and let them call you a little deeper and higher. These questions are powerful, but what's even more powerful? It's when and how you ask them. I had a karate instructor years ago. He'd always tell me, write down a question just before you go to sleep. And while you sleep, it will bring forth whatever answer you're looking for. Your subconscious and spirit in the universe will work for you even while you're sleeping to bring you whatever it is you need. Anybody ever think, what was the name of the guy in that movie? Or what was the name of that song? And a couple days later, you come up with it. It is because you set things into motion with your questions. One of the most interesting things is when you ask yourself a question and quiet your mind in a meditative way, the answer springs up even quicker and faster. Let me give you some examples. Everybody know J.K. Rowling? She asked herself the question while on a train. She just heard that English students were not reading at a high enough grade level. They weren't reading as much. And she asked herself the question, how can I help students read more? She fell asleep on the train, woke up when it stopped, and she thought of a little wizard boy who was reluctant. And Harry Potter was born out of a question in a meditative way. Archimedes, everybody know Archimedes? He was given the task of figuring out how much gold was in a crown. So he sat in a bathtub in a grotto and the water displaced, and he said, Eureka, I found it. And he discovered that displacing of the water is the way that can tell the weight. Ray Kroc asked himself the question, where can you get a good hamburger on the road these days? Ray Kroc bought McDonald's and literally transformed it. You think it's a coincidence that Isaac Newton got his inspiration while sitting under a tree? Do you think Thomas Edison, it was a coincidence that every night he would sit there and quiet his mind, holding ball bearings to get himself into just before that falling asleep state, because he knew that's where his ideas would come from? Questions are powerful, but they're even more powerful when you let them drop into a meditative state. Do you know that asking questions are actually much more powerful than affirmations? Because affirmations are trying to put it from the outside in. Questions bring it out of you. It stimulates. Use the power of questions. And here's why I think these 4 questions are powerful, because notice them. The first one, what do I need to let go? Helps you let go of the past. Second one is, what do I want? Helps you look forward to the future. What am I grateful for? Helps you live in the present. And what's calling me deeper? Helps you go in your soul and into God in a more fulfilling way. The tools are available right there for us. If your life is unstuck, the greatest way to move forward is to ask yourself these 4 most important questions. God bless you all.
He's back.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let this begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
God bless you. Have a great day and a wonderful week.